want to actually find out about the young you. What led you to the moment where you decided, like, I want to be a DJ and I want to be on radio. I want to be doing broadcasting.
That's all an accident. Never in a million years did I want to be a DJ. Now, I did in kind of, that thing of where singers would go in the mirror with a mic. And I used to be one of those people who'd be in the mic, like a Dave Lee Travis from my days, and in the mic with the hairbrush and pretending to announce records on Radio 1, because Radio 1 was a pinnacle in those days. With the irony of that is that BBC then came and took so many of Kiss DJs, including Alex, to come and run the whole
Alex Donnelly.
Alex Donnelly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they came and took Alex to come and be, I think, head of music, and then I'm trying to remember. There's quite a few people, but I didn't go to Radio 1. I ended up going the Capital route through choice. But but to answer your question directly, there was no thing in my head, I want to be a DJ. I saw my dad buy records, and to think, like, so I started when I was about 6 buying records. My very first records were the Jackson 5 Greatest Hits and Bruce Ruffin's Mad About You, which is kind of a fake reggae record. And the reason why I say fake reggae is because so there's lots of people like UB40, but that's not my thing. UB40 it's not hardcore enough for me. I am a Sound Clash lover. I am a reggae fan up until about 2000. If I push it till maybe 2008, the reggae that comes out now, it's all right for you. If you like Mafado, Alkaline, and all that, good. They do the odd 1 or 2 records I like, but that's not for me. I like mine a bit more reggae and hardcore sounding as opposed to what comes out now, which is like, to me, it sounds like fake hip hop. That's what it sounds like. But I got the 2 records I got because I was given a record voucher. In those days, you could do that. So it wasn't online. You get a voucher and then you go to the shop, you exchange it for records. The record shop I wanted to go to, or did go to, they didn't do that. It was a black moms and pop shop. It's called Vasco. It was owned by Ray Vasco, who sang a record that in the black scene for my mum and dad. He was huge. He was like a star. He had a record called Growing Old, which couldn't stand, but they loved it. You go to one of their parties, it's going to get a run. He ran a record shop. He did not take anything but cash. So I had to go to Spin-Offs, which was around the corner from me. And I asked, did they have blah, blah, blah? They said no. Because I wanted certain reggae records that they was just never going to get, because the reggae records I wanted came straight from Jamaica. So anything from Studio One, Channel One, Joe Gibbs, all that stuff. So the English parts of reggae in those days were like Greensleeves, Fashion, Dub Vendor, Freedom Sounds, all those. Once again, that's why I became a DJ, because I can remember stupid stuff that doesn't mean anything to anybody until you're in a barber shop and they start talking about, as you know. So I got those 2 records. So Jackson 5, got the Bruce Ruffin, and I think that was my first record. So I was somewhere between 7 and 11. That's where I was. And eventually we moved when I was 13. So I started off in Lambert Grove. That's where I started. And eventually we moved when I was 13. It was a weird one, actually, because I remember I was away at summer camp because I was in the Army Cadets. And I was away. So we moved when I was away. When I came back, I just lived somewhere else. The good thing is my parents, I had proper parents, so they didn't just move and I came back and there was nobody there. I knew we were moving. And from there, I remember looking at my dad's record collection, looking at Junior Walker, Houston Pearson, Aretha Franklin, Ace Cannon, John Holt. I'm just trying to remember who did the Miracle Worker. Sydney, somebody, I can't remember. Anyway, so my dad had a mixture of country and western, reggae, calypso. So if you're from them times, calypso would be Short Shirt. It would be Sparrow. And so he had a reasonable, he had about this.
What, 200?
Not even that.
Not even that, 100.
But yeah, but what he did buy mainly was albums. He didn't buy too many singles. And then eventually, I started buying reggae records. I remember my very first proper reggae record was Penny Reel by Prince Jazz. But when I played it, my dad was like, "Why are you buying records with talking on it?" because obviously you don't understand the whole rhyming thing. And that was my thing because I used to listen to Coxsone every Friday. And the irony of that is Coxsone used to play at the Metro in St. Luke's Road in Laverick Grove, where I lived at number 11 as a kid. Then I moved away. But I used to go back there to rave on a Friday night with my boys. We were called the Denzel Road Posse because I used to live in Denzel Road. And eventually I just got to that point where I just discovered crackers because of my friend David Campbell, who just reunited with last year after God knows how many years.
Just for anybody who doesn't know, just Crackers was a club.
Yes, Crackers was the club. It wasn't just a club.
Yeah.
So if you are a proper hip hop head and you're into Primo or you're into Last Professor, even down to Swizz Beats, if they sample, some of the records that you hear were played in that club. Yeah. So anyway, I discovered Crackers. David Campbell was the one who got me there. Didn't like it. I was like, oh, I'm not liking this at all. This soul music isn't for me. But it was that far back. It was a quid that would get you in, and you'd get sausage and chips as well. That's how far back it was, right? And what changed my mind, because first of all, being a reggae boy, soul boys are soft. You know what I mean? They ain't saying that. But there was an argument in the queue. So the soul boy bumped into the reggae boy. And in those days, you're wearing Cecil G tops, your slacks, you're wearing ballet shoes, you know. So easily you could be wearing minimum of £500 worth of gear.
Back then.
Back then, yeah.
So it's
Which,
about
but
50
now,
grand now.
but yeah. So the soul boy bumped into the reggae boy, and there was an argument, and of course the reggae boy gave it large, but the soul boy battered him, and I was like, I've got it wrong. I've got a thought in my head, you know, that saying of it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. That's what changed my mind. So I was going to Metro all the time, and I just had my fill of having fights every week, you know, because South, North, it doesn't matter what year it, youths always do the same damn thing.
Over and over. That's what's going on now.
So they use them now when they're looking at, boy, your dad or granddad, you don't know. Yes, I do know. Man, the difference was gangsters had respect and honor integrity in those days. So they're not coming for you, right? They're coming for whoever they're after. And we're not coming after your mum. We're not going to spray the side of the road with whoever's there. It's like, when we see you, let's have it. And that was what was going on then. And I remember the last time I was at Metro. Some guy looked around the door of, like, we was in an area pretty much like this, and people just chilling out. This guy looks over at me. I don't know him. Don't know where he comes from. He's like, "What are you looking at?" I was like, "But you wouldn't know I was looking at you if he wasn't looking at me." So he comes for me, but he doesn't know that my crew are behind him. But I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. But one of the guys, I'm not going to say his name, one of our crew was a bit of a bad man. He's like, let's go outside. And he put one hand behind his back and said, every one of you come for me one by one and let's deal with this. They never did. And I was like, I don't care how we're going to end up. I'm done with this because all I'm looking is gal and drink.